I wanted to use this moment in this video to talk about the fundamental wholeness within you. Because I think recognizing and remembering the fundamental wholeness within our being, to feel that deeply, is an absolute game changer in how we perceive our life and how we experience life, and with how much joy and openness and peace we can experience life. The number one pattern that I've seen in myself and so many other leaders that I've worked with, that I've guided over the years, is this tension within ourselves where we always need to work on ourselves and be more of ourselves. We always need to stretch to become more. We're always pursuing goals, which is totally fine. Of course, we're inspired by something. We pursue that is part of life. But oftentimes it's not just pursuing inspired goals. It is feeling like we need to stretch to become more of ourselves, as we're simply right now in this moment not sufficient. And we don't consciously experience that thought in our mind, but subconsciously oftentimes it is what runs us. And in this video, I want to remind you of your innate worth, intrinsic worth, that has nothing to do with your performance, that has nothing to do with your output, that has nothing to do with your productivity, that has nothing to do with what you do in the world, has nothing to do with your financial status or the number in your bank account. This has innately everything to do with the presence of your being. This has everything to do with who you are at your core. And a lot of us overlook this, but who we are at our core is unchanging peace. Who we are at our core is an essence that doesn't need to prove itself. Who we are at our core is just this deep, deep stillness that communicates to you and lets you know that you are enough the way that you are. You are whole because you are. And you are means that your sheer existence is everything you ever need, and nothing else is required of you. You being, you existing, is as powerful as it gets. And this might sound abstract, this might sound strange, but at the core, when we connect to presence, when we fall deeply into the present moment and we realize and remember that that is who we are at our core, there's a wholeness that opens up in our heart that it is so hard to explain with words. It is so hard to capture with our mind, because it is a beyond mind experience. It is simply the quality and the joy and the peace of being. And I believe that the more you are able to come from this place, the more you're able to relax into this essence of who you are, the more yourself you will feel. And the more powerful you become, but it is more, you reveal the innate power within you when there's nothing to prove. And I personally have struggled, even though I've been able to connect to this part of myself, to consistently integrate it into your life so that it, without a shadow of a doubt, you feel and know this unshakable worth and value. Sometimes we get pulled out of it, and we get pulled into the stories and narratives that feed us different ideas of who we are, that we need to become more, that we should be more, that we need to do more. And where it comes from is this wound, this pain in our heart that hasn't fully healed yet, which is okay, but that brings us to these stories and narratives that we need to do more, that we're still not enough. But it is the consistency in which you can come back to this core of wholeness, in which you more and more heal and more integrate within you this unshakable knowing that there is nothing to prove and you're powerful as you are, simply by being in touch with this presence. And the challenging thing, especially if we're geared to achieve, if we have this high achiever mindset or identity, is to actually surrender and to let go into this simply being, to relax into falling into something that isn't tied to our performance, that isn't tied to our identity. Because ultimately, at the deepest level of perceiving, any identity is still construed in your thoughts about yourself. But that is not your deepest truthful identity. Your deepest truthful identity is the identity of presence, the identity of being. And there is no thought about yourself. There is only the unshakable piece of who you are. So on some level, you can say even the most positively construed identities are still not as powerful as you being immersed and tapped into the truth of who you are, which is presence, being. And my mission on this planet, or what I feel so inspired to bring more awareness to, is how powerful this core of being or presence is, and how it can connect us to the wholeness that we're always trying to seek in outside experiences. But that wholeness is never to be found in outside experiences, that wholeness is who you are. And the more we connect to that, remember that, realize that, know that, the more some part of us settles, our nervous system settles, and we come back home to ourselves. We come back home to who we are. And from there, inspiration flows, alignment comes. You are in your flow state because you're simply in the frequency of who you truly are. You're not trying to prove something. I want you to internalize this for a moment. This can be an absolute game changer in the way you perceive life. If even just for a moment you come deeper in contact with this unshakable, unchanging sense of peace within you. And that diving deeper into that quality of peace reminds your heart, reminds your soul of the never-changing worth and value that can never be taken away from you. And when you relax back into yourself, there's a safety that you feel and the peace that you feel that is the opposite of being run by an operating system within that doesn't feel safe and that constantly has to do more or be more. And this is what I see in so many leaders and people that are business owners, and they have big visions, but they're still run on some level, they're run by subconsciously by this constant needing to acquire more or to become more as a way to extract value from that and feel worthy. But it is not the truest, most deep way of extracting our value, because your value doesn't have to be extracted by anything. It simply innately is. It is intrinsic to you. And I think on our human experience, we become the most powerful leaders. We become the most powerful human beings the more we come in contact with this innate value and essence of ourselves. So I say this to you now from the depth of my heart, transmitting to you this remembrance. You are completely, utterly, perfectly whole the way that you are, and nothing you'll ever do will change that. So you might as well give up or surrender trying to acquire outside experiences in order to prove your worth. You might as well give that up, because that pursuit is futile and will only frustrate you and will only lead to suffering. But when you come home to the nature of your being, when you come home to who you are, and you remember presence as your birthright, as your being, that's when you feel so connected to yourself that you simply are tapped into the inspiration of your heart, which is also the inspiration of your soul, which is then able to translate and bring to the world profound visions of that actually better the world, that improve the world, but it is not you trying to do it all by yourself. You have the life force of God behind you because you are connected innately, tapped in to who you are. And there's a profound life force energy and strength there. It rejuvenates your energy profoundly. So my invitation to you, if you have a big vision, if you sometimes feel this constant pressure to become more, to do more, this constant responsibility, my invitation to you is look more into who you innately are and the innate value within you and the innate peace within you, and let that strengthen you and let it take off this constant pressure. Because this pressure, as much as we say it drives us and grows us, it doesn't really connect us to the deepest joy and happiness and creating from that. And it will not yield the most transformative, energetic results that can only be yielded when we are in touch with the presence within us. So I hope this video helped you as a way to remember, as a way to reconnect to your innate value, to your innate worth.